Welcome back to the Coming to Hero, the personal development podcast for nerds, geeks, and what have you. I'm your host, Justin Lewis, and welcome back to another show. You're probably wondering, wow, 2 shows in 2 days. This is amazing. Why the change? Well, not really a change. Well, kind of. We moved. My family moved. As I said yesterday in the previous episode, don't have Wi-Fi or internet at the new place, and I work remote, so I'm driving to the old house, which we still have for a few more days, to work remotely. So it's funny, I'm commuting to work remotely. Never thought I'd say that. But I'm going to basically be doing it for the next week or so. So I figured, why not talk and get some episodes in? As I said yesterday, this is hopefully helpful to you because it's going to be a little bit of my own journey, things I've learned, things I've thought about, things I want to improve personally. So, I've been thinking about being a lone wolf. And let me tell you, it doesn't work. I know, because I've tried it and it didn't work. So, a little bit of backstory. Well, not a backstory, but a story. So, in my current D&D campaign, my wife, I'm the dungeon master, but my wife plays a character named Ransom. Ransom always goes off on his own, and even the character before Ransom that my wife played, Rue, did the same thing. I think it's just my wife and her mentality, maybe. But that always led to them getting in trouble because they would inevitably go into places that they weren't prepared for. And they would do this by leaving the group and going off on their own. Obviously, that is a fantasy game, right? It's one that we make up, but you can see the same thing in movies, right? When Frodo goes off without Sam, things go bad, right? And even in my own life, I've seen this same sort of thing happen. With the Hard Thing podcast before, I was doing it all alone, and I got burnt out very quickly. Not just that, but I feel like it was stale, it wasn't powerful, all those things. With my next podcast that I started, How to Be a Better DM, I decided from the get-go to do things differently. I wanted to try and involve people, thinking it would simplify the process and hopefully make it easier for myself and also make it better, because other people bring other ideas, which is better and more unique content. And that's how it was. I was able to bring on Tanner Wayland as my co-host, and since then I've done a couple other businesses, including Caden Otley, who is also now coming onto the podcast in a way. And what this has done is it's allowed me to take time off, for one, take a week off, because in podcasting, if you don't podcast a week, it's like the cardinal sin, and no one's going to listen to your podcast, and oh no, the sky is falling. Also, I have not found that to be exactly the case. As long as your people care and you come back as often as you can, it doesn't matter how often you post. That said, people do care for regular posts and consistency, so there's kind of a mixed bag there. Anyway, all this is to say, finding your crew, your adventuring party, is essential. You can't defeat a lich by yourself until you're like level 16, 17, 18, or 19, or 20. And you can defeat a lich with other party members much earlier. And honestly, I don't even know if level 15 or 16 could get you there. when you do things alone, in an interesting way, you're not only kind of relegating yourself to your own skills, habits, and attitudes, but you're stuck with your own echo chamber. And this can be very bad, especially if you have poor mental health, which is most often the case when you do things alone. Or maybe when you do things alone, you often have poor mental health. Sorry, I didn't say that right. When you go alone, it's often that you have poor mental health. And often when you have poor mental health, you choose to do things alone for some reason. I've seen this with many people. They kind of withdraw within themselves and shut everyone out. But that's exactly the wrong thing to do. I was talking with a friend a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about framing people, framing things in your mind. And he was talking to me and kind of just talking about a struggle he was having about just being fearful a little bit. And if you're listening, I hope you don't mind that I'm sharing this story, but I told him we need to find your crew, the people who have your back, to give you a sense of security. So what this means is, one, and this first point is more than anything to myself, because frankly, I'm not the best at this. In fact, I'm kind of really bad, really, really bad. But the first thing you need to do is be open to relationships. Allow other people into your life. And when people are friendly and they're interested in deepening their relationship with you, don't look at that as this is too good to be true, or they don't really know me. I'm just waiting for them to get to know me, and then they'll just not like me. Just be open to the possibility that someone could be your friend and want to be your friend. Number 2 is invite people to things, to do things with you, right? I'm guessing at some point this week you're going to do something that you like to do, or you're challenging yourself to do. Maybe it's a workout, I don't know. Maybe it's a cold plunge, who knows? Those are pretty popular nowadays. I like those. When you do that, there's going to be a moment, probably because of this podcast, but there's going to be a moment where you think, maybe I should invite XYZ person. Well, first of all, you should tell XYZ person that their name is really weird. Second of all, you should invite them, even if you don't think they would be interested. Because guess what? If they say no, that's fine. You still invited someone. But you'll probably think of someone else to invite. But also, they will probably say yes unless they have other commitments. They're going to be open to it, because when people get invited to things, there's at least a 50-50 chance. Don't be a lone wolf. Believe me, it is far less productive, and frankly, you're setting yourself up for failure when you are a lone wolf. And I would even say this goes for people within marriage. So I've seen it a couple times where marriages fall apart, and then either person in the marriage didn't really create friendships outside of the marriage, right? All their friends were friends from the marriage. So when things fell apart, it was difficult to find any sort of support. People are choosing sides. Sometimes people will just kind of disappear because they would rather not choose sides. And I'm not saying you have to deliberately make sure you don't have married friends or whatever. Like, you can have friends that are both you and your spouse's friends. But you need to have friends that are just your friends. Friends that you can talk to and support you. And the funny thing is, this will help you keep your marriage together. Because if you're good at choosing friends, and you should be, you'll choose friends that will offer support and guidance when you need. So, with all that, don't be a lone wolf. Invite someone into your life just to do something, right? A good example, I'm going scuba diving with my wife. I traded some business services for this scuba certification, and I invited my friend to join us. And obviously, he'd have to pay and sign up, but that just goes to show you that's sort of what I'm talking about. Just invite people into your life. Invite people on the quests you go on. When you do this, they stop becoming an NPC in your life, and they start turning into a very helpful character. I guess they're still technically an NPC because you're the PC, but you get my point. They become part of your adventuring party rather than the tavern keeper that you left behind. So, go about your day today thinking about ways to not be alone. And guess what? When you do that, you'll be able to beat the Lich and basically anything else you want to do in your life because you'll have the support of friends. And I include family within that definition of friends if you do. So with that, I wish you a happy day. Good luck in your travels, happy adventuring, and may you always roll criticals.